Europe is intensively preparing for war with Russia. EU countries have finally realized that Kyiv was not joking when they said that the Russian Federation would not stop in Ukraine. And the threats from propagandists have stopped being funny.
Let me remind you that Ukraine is merely an intermediate stage in ensuring the strategic security of the Russian Federation.
After 3 years of full-scale war in Ukraine, Europe has awakened, not without the help of Trump, who explicitly stated that the security of the EU is not his priority at all. As a result, EU citizens have begun to be warned about emergency kits, and the officials themselves have rushed to pour money into defense, and also to conduct exercises. Such preparation will take place, for example, this fall in Germany, and it is explicitly stated that large-scale exercises will be held in case of a Russian attack on NATO. What are these exercises? And is it too late? Europe has realized. All about this and more in just a moment. Red Storm Bravo. This is the code name for the exercises that the Bundeswehr will conduct on September 25th. They will last for 3 days and will take place both day and night. During the training, they plan to practice the movement of troops in urban areas, providing emergency medical assistance and evacuating the wounded. The most important task of the exercises is to practice the rapid deployment of Allied forces. That is, so that in the event of a Russian attack, the military of the North Atlantic Alliance would be ready for a swift deployment. And just these exercises alone already indicate that the EU is very concerned about the future.
The danger of Russian aggression is understood quite deeply in all countries. And I don't see a big difference between what the leaders of France, Britain, Germany, or Spain and Italy are saying. And on the other hand, it's also clear that many, well, as they say, informal alliances are emerging. That is, there are many formats where discussions are held on how to strengthen their defense.
But are just discussions enough? Europeans expect that Russia will not attack now, but closer to the year 2030. And experts consider such complacency to be a huge mistake.
All the debates about Russia potentially being ready to attack NATO in 2029 are somewhat artificial debates. It's impossible to predict this, but Putin, if he wants to, if he has such plans, will not wait for NATO to prepare for war.
If we model that the Russian Federation will attack not in 5 years, but hypothetically next year, then EU countries are completely unprepared to repel a Russian attack. All scenarios of an attack on a random European country concluded that in less than a week, without the support of the North Atlantic Alliance, it would fall. Of course, a NATO member country will not fight alone. The alliance will step in. However, the warning signs for European countries are more than alarming, and European officials acknowledge this.
For instance, Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, says that in 3 months, Russia is now producing more weapons than all NATO members, European countries, the United Kingdom, Norway, the United States, and Canada, produce in a year. What is the difference in the production that we see today? It creates a kind of, well, feeling for Putin that he can indeed test us. And that's why we say that by the year 30, we must implement these NATO goals for defensive capabilities.
Plans are good. But again, is there time?
The potential conclusion of a potentially significant negative peace treaty on Ukraine frees Putin and his military for other actions. Large military exercises called Zapad have already been announced, which are to take place in Belarus in the fall of 2025. My friends in Lithuania and other Baltic countries are very concerned about these maneuvers, because we saw that similar maneuvers in 2021 preceded the full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
This means we need to be ready not in 5 years, but already in a year.
We are now moving out of a zone of stability, and statesmen need to demonstrate themselves as leaders, convinced of European unity. And we, as Europeans, must not only talk it, but also actively develop our defense.
And also not forget that the USA might not come to help in the event of a Russian attack on Europe.
What is happening is a huge challenge for the West and for Europeans, because we have relied heavily on the USA for our own security. And now we are witnessing a restructuring of the Western defense architecture. This will take some time because this system is 75 years old.
We Europeans have 450 odd million inhabitants, right? In the United States of America, it's 340 million. And somehow we cry and ask and somehow complain of, why don't 340 million Americans want to take responsibility for the defense of 450 million against 140 million inhabitants in Russia, which cannot manage to defeat 38 million Ukrainians.
This acknowledgement from a European official is undoubtedly encouraging. Only minor details remain to increase combat power. After all, the fact that Europe's weaponry is better and of higher quality than Russia's is beyond doubt. However, time is an unbearable luxury for Europeans. The Russian Federation tests the patience of the EU and NATO. Russian special services are not shy about staging provocations, and observing Putin's games only encourages the Kremlin to continue.
I think Putin is going to continue testing us in hybrid warfare. We have already seen damage to cables at the bottom of the Baltic Sea and elsewhere, and he is going to test this again. If there is no joint strong reaction from our side, Putin will definitely continue. He will try to undermine our society from within. Look at how this is already happening in Germany, France, Slovakia, Hungary, and other countries. And the situation may arise as early as this fall or later, where a Russian brigade comes across the bridge in Narva, Estonia, and says, now this is Russian territory. What will your reaction be?
And that is the question Europeans should have answered long ago, and we can only hope that they have at least answered it now. At the very least, as we can see, there are already positive shifts. Europe is preparing to push back, and even do so without the USA if Trump decides to abandon the EU citizens.
The fact is that we are a de facto, truly large organization, economically strong. Our economic potential is 10 times greater than that of Russia. And we need to translate this into having a proper military force so that we can defend ourselves.
Do you think Putin really wants to attack Europe? When and will European countries be able to resist? Share your thoughts in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video. And be sure to subscribe to our Arsenal channel so you don't miss all the most interesting content.